Hey guys, I'm Miss Fleming from Quitman Lower. I wanted to just talk with you a little bit about some sight word activities that you can use at home during your family time, and I hope you're enjoying that. So one of the hardest things that I feel like we teach to elementary kids are sight words, because we know they're not decodable words, and they are a large percentage of what we read. 50 to 75% of our words that we read are sight words. The decodable words are very important to work on, but those sight words are more important because we see more of those and those words can't be sounded out. So that's hard to teach our babies. So I've laid out some activities for you guys to look at, and I want to walk through some of them. I know a lot of you are doing flashcards at home, and flashcards are great. That teaches them the word every time they see it. They can name it for you. But we also need to understand the purpose of sight words and teach our kids the purpose. So not just flashing them, it's not enough for them to just be able to say the word, but also verbally use that word in a sentence and learn to read that word when they see it in a sentence or text. And verbally give you a sentence as well. So here are some activities that I made up for you to do at home. And I hand wrote these because I know you might not have the materials that you need. So this is just an activity where they have the word. So it's using that flashcard. They say the word for you. They can spell the word out, write it, and then this is where you can bring in your fun activities if you have them at home, like your Play-Doh or your dry erase, your chalk, sidewalk chalk, go outside play, or just as simple as using a pencil. So they write it out and spell it for you. Also cover up the word and let them spell it so they can show you that they really do know how to spell it by themselves. And then they go back and they read the sentence. Does this sight word really make sense in this sentence? Then let them keep going on and use that word verbally in a sentence with that word. So all of this simple activity, it covers different ways to use those sight words to help kids understand what that sight word is, what the purpose of it is, and how it helps us read in a text. And then right here, we want them to be able to read the sight word in their sentences and be able to say them every time we see it. So this side of the activity, we have 3 sight words. So they're going to use the sight word within their sentence. So they're going to read their sentence and figure out what sight word makes sense. And then we also have some more sentence stems on this side where your sentence, are made up of all the sight words, and they fill in the word at the end that makes sense. So they're not using these flashcard sight words up here. They're using all sight words to read the first part of the sentence and filling in that last word. So these are just some good activities to do, and it will really show you if your child knows their sight words besides just flashing them, because sometimes we can flash our students a word and they can tell you on the flashcard, but then when they get ready to sit down and read it, they have forgotten the word. So we want to make sure that they are really looking at the word within the text. So I'm going to let the camera go around the table and show you some things that we do at school. You may or may not have access to this, but if you can find it online, these are just some different activities you can use. This talks about mixing your repetition with purpose. So you're not going to get different results by doing the same thing. So not just flashing all the time. They're using these sight words within their text. So they're highlighting them. They're saying them to you. You might let them write them before they read, and then let them go back and read those sight words within this text, helping them understand the purpose. And then this one was a fun activity. If you have blocks at home, if you don't, it's perfectly fine. You can do the handwritten stuff that we talked about. It teaches kids to recognize them and read it for meaning. So they're going to pull out a block, has a sight word written on the bottom, and they have a sentence, and they figure out where that sight word makes sense. So they're looking at the sight word, reading the sight word, and figuring out where it goes in the sentence for their meaning. Same type thing here where they have their sentence. They have 4 sight words at the bottom. I wouldn't give your kids a lot of sight words if they're struggling on them because that overwhelms them. So start with about 4 or 5 at a time and then let them figure out where they go in a sentence. Again, this is similar to what we did on paper, just handwritten. Simple activity. Right here, they're reading those sight words. They're writing the sight words. Cover the word up, let them write it by themselves, and then they come over here and find it and read it within their sentence. So all about reading the sight word within context. And then we move on to our purpose of sight words, and our elementary kids in general is teaching them how to read. So they have their sight words, they find them, and then they read them within that text. And that also goes back to their books, their Decodable books. There are some Decodable books online, and if you cannot find any, I know if you reach out to your child's teacher, they'll be glad to find you some books. Another simple activity for like pre-K and kindergarten is the repetitive triangle, where they have the sight words starting right here and they keep repeating it as the sentence builds each time. So that's a good little fluency passage to help them work on that individual sight word. And then, of course, the fun activities. You can get dry erase boards. You can put a drop of paint in a bag and let them spell out the words. And, of course, sidewalk chalk, anything fun that you can use at home. So I hope this was helpful. And if you have any questions or you need anything, please contact the school. Thanks, guys.